My dear friends, let's take some tzedakah, put it into tzedakah. Tzedakah tatil memoves, as it says, tzedakah saves from death, spiritual death, physical death. Excuse me, and talking about death last night, after Shabbat, when we heard about the tragic loss of lives in Eretz Yisrael, where 7 people have been murdered cold-bloodedly by a despicable terrorist. A thought occurred to me, and I want to share it with you. In the Parsha of this week, we read that finally, B'Shalach, Paro finally freed the people, and the Jewish people could finally breathe a sigh of relief. We're out of Egypt. Finally, we have our freedom. We're on the way to a new world, to new vistas, to new life, to new purpose of life, to meaningful life, receiving the Torah. The most exciting of moments of a person at that time. What happened? Suddenly, out of nowhere, they reappeared. While we thought that we finally got rid of them, with all those plagues, and they finally got the message, don't mess with the Jews, don't mess with Moshe Rabbeinu, listen to God, suddenly they're chasing us again. And we became petrified. There's nowhere to go in front, nowhere to go back. And what did we do? We started crying. Says the Pasuk, Vayirum oidu, were very frightened. Vayitzaku b'nei Yisrael el Hashem, and the people started praying to God. They started to scream to God, "Help!" And Rashi says, what did they do? They've learned from Avraham Avinu, the old profession of Abraham, which is to pray to God. Now one asks a question: why did God do this? What was the purpose of suddenly have the Egyptians coming and bringing us to pray? There are many explanations. God wanted to destroy the Egyptians in showing them the splitting of the sea and all the miracles that came about it. But I want to share just with you maybe a simple thought. While they went out of Egypt, they felt, finally, we're good, we're safe. The oppressor is beaten, and now I have a free, comfortable journey. Comes God and reminds us, prayer is always necessary. Never ever should one think that we manage. Never ever should one feel complacent in thinking, I'm in relatively good security. I have a good government. I have police. Things are fine. You know, this reminds me of the little anecdote, the joke, maybe a sad joke, about this individual who is going to his most important meeting of his professional career. He's going to make a deal which is going to give him his retiring plan. And as driving to the place, and he's looking for a parking spot, and this is downtown, very busy. There's not a parking spot available. All the indoor parkings are full. The outdoors parkings are full. And as he's looking at his watch, he says he's going to come late to that meeting, and that's definitely not something he wants to do, come late. So he turns around to God and says, God, you know what? If you get me a parking spot, I promise I'm going to put on tefillin every day before leaving home. And as a bonus, I'll throw in, I'm going to start being more careful eating kosher. And suddenly, out of nowhere, just where he's standing, a car pulls out. Perfect spot for him, and he turns around to God and says, God, you know what? Forget about my commitment. I'm managing on my own. Way too often we have this kind of a feeling. And if I may, without going into Israeli politics, obviously, this is too a dangerous area to get into, but many felt after the election of the new right-wing government with stronger approaches, which is necessary, and that's not what I'm going to discuss, but we felt a certain sense of security. Says the pasuk, Al tiftuchu bin divim. Do not rely on the donors. Beven adam she'ein las Yeshua, on a human being that cannot give you your salvation. So maybe says the Torah, ben adam, ben this, ben that. Security comes from Hashem, and this comes with prayer to Him. And therefore, when we came out of Egypt, God wanted to remind us, let's forever continue praying for our well-being. And thus, please, friends, join me in a prayer for the well-being of our brethren in Eretz Yisrael, for the well-being of all the people around the world. We hear of so many tragic, incomprehensible situations. And please, Eibishter, the best solution and the only solution is for Mashiach to come right now.